Hey, welcome back to Hulkgarage. Today we're going to be bleeding brakes on the Squarebody. I'm going to show y'all how to do it by yourself. Okay, first you're going to want to get some like .3 brake fluid, some pretty good stuff. Just anything that's like .3. This one says synthetic, but I can't find normal brake fluid anymore. Let me know if you guys can find any. So I think it's going to be fine for an older vehicle. Some wrenches for your bleeder screws on your calipers. And then what I like to use is like a bigger Gatorade bottle, like a 28 ounce or 20 ounce is fine. And then I got this clear hose from Tractor Supply. I believe it's 3/16 line, and that fits right on that bleeder port, so it kind of seals it up. And then you're going to want to pour your brake fluid in to your bottle and pour it in so that the line at the bottom when you're bleeding your brakes is submerged, and then your bubbles are going to come to the top. I use a 1/4 inch drill bit in the Gatorade bottle lid, and it's perfect. It doesn't squeeze it too hard. It doesn't, and it holds it there when you have pressure on the line. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with brakes, this is your master cylinder. For those of you that are, this will just kind of be like a lesson how I do it. So you're going to want to start with this being full of good brake fluid, and you want to make sure that this isn't leaking. You want this tight on here while you're pressing the pedal down. And then obviously your lines and everything need to make sure they're not leaking or sucking air, because you're just going to be wasting your time if these lines aren't tight. And then I'll show y'all. So I've already done the back brakes, but these front brakes, I had a small leak on the diverter valve, and it was kind of dripping down. So I loosened the flare up. So on these old Squarebodies, you've got, I call it the diverter valve. It's kind of windy today, sorry. But yeah, you've got this inline. It's basically like a safety valve. If you lose your front or rear brakes, you don't lose full pressure on your brake system. But one of those little flare nuts was a little bit loose and it was leaking. So I pulled the line and kind of just put it back in there and tightened it up. That was the line that I saw that was dripping a little bit, and it wasn't bad. It was just, I could just see it weeping a little bit. So to me, anything that's leaking in the brake system isn't good. So we're gonna go ahead and bleed it today. Okay, so I got my Gatorade bottle ready, and the reason I like to use these bigger Gatorade bottles is because they don't tip over, because you're gonna have to leave this area when you're pumping your brakes by yourself. If you're by yourself, if you have somebody to help you, you can do it. You can still do it this way. But I'm gonna take the end of this hose right here, and I'm gonna put it right on that bleed port right there. You can see it. You know, you want it pretty snug on there because you don't want it to blow off. And this is also going to keep it clean down here. If you're doing it in your nice shop or garage floor, you don't want brake fluid everywhere, and you don't want it all over your paint or your tires or your brakes. So, but this particular bleed port is a 3/8. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 3/8 wrench on there. And like I said, you want your master cylinder full because you're going to lose some brake fluid here. And then also this line, make sure that the bottom of that line is always submerged in the brake fluid. Otherwise you're going to be sucking air back through this hose every time you pump on the brakes. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen this bleed port up. And then you can kind of see the bubbles and stuff coming up right now. So it's kind of good to know that there was air in there. So you can see I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the fluid starting to come up. So typically you want to start on your furthest away line, your longest line, so from the master cylinder, so it would be the right rear of the truck. And like I said, I've already bled the rear brakes. So, and then the only line that I took off was this front brake right here. When I saw that seepage, this is the only part I took off. So, but yeah, make sure you have plenty of brake fluid on hand, because you're going to be going through it. If you just put all new lines on, I would definitely pick up a couple quarts of brake fluid. It's getting pretty expensive actually, so if you can buy it in bulk, you might do that as well. Okay, so the master cylinder lid's closed up. I've got my brake fluid right here, and then we're going to pump the brakes now. So I'm going to give it some pretty good pumps. And it should start firming up. And it is. And now we're going to go check our bottle. And what I'm looking at is I'm looking in this line, and if I see air bubbles, I'm going to keep doing it. But if I don't, I think we're good. And I don't see any air bubbles in here. And our hose is still submerged. And the brake pedal was pretty firm. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to call this side good. And I'm going to retighten this bleed port up while it's got fluid in there. You don't want to pull this line off right now, because you would put air in the system again. So I'm going to tighten the bleed port up, and just good and tight. Don't crack it off, because then you'll be putting a caliper on here. Okay, so when you pull this hose off, put some safety glasses on, close your mouth, because stuff's pretty bad. And you're gonna make a little bit of a mess, but you just kind of let it drain back in that bottle. And then I'm gonna put this dust cap back on right here, and we're gonna call this side good. So you want to do that, like I said, you want it the furthest away from the master cylinder, so the right rear. Then you'd go to the left rear, and then you'd come up here to the front left, which, like I said, I've already done all these brakes already. I just had that one issue where that flare wasn't tight enough. So I just had a little bit of air in this side, and I think I just now got it out. So we'll probably do a little road test and see how she feels. Also, I did put these mufflers back on, so I got them clamped up there now. They're kind of temporary until I can get to the exhaust shop and have some hangers put on, but it's holding pretty good. It's pretty tight. And then it sure makes it a lot quieter. Oh, I forgot to tell you. So yeah, you want to check and see if you lost a lot of fluid. and it's still pretty full, so I'm not gonna add any. So yeah, put that back on tight before you drive it. And then now we'll go do a little road test to see how the brakes feel. Alright, let's go for a little cruise in this old Squarebody. So, safety first, since I just got this truck running. If you guys are following my other videos, might want to bring a fire extinguisher if you got a carbureted vehicle. You never know. So, all right, let's buckle up for safety here. All right, we'll fire her up. She runs pretty good. Let's put some AC on. You know what I mean? 1975 AC. Squarebody Syndicate right there. That's where it's at. Go for a little cruise. Feel this brake pedal. Feels pretty good. Put her in drive. Check for cars. Kicking in. We're just gonna do a little loop up here. Brakes feel pretty good. So it's pretty low geared. This is 410 gears in the back, and you got the turbo 400. You know, so it's not the fastest thing in the world, but she'll get moving. Turn around right here. So, you know, stops pretty good. See it? As we all know, gas is expensive right now, so I definitely don't want to run out, but there's a little dig. Screaming. Alright, so we made it back. The old truck runs pretty good. Brakes are good. Thanks for y'all for watching my videos. I sure like these old trucks. Let me know what y'all think. If y'all got a better way to bleed brakes or whatever tips y'all got. Just let me know. Y'all got an old Squarebody or something you're working on, or an old Ford, send me your link to your channel or your video. I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Later, guys.